right, hi everybody, it's Carolina here on Saturday night, our new night for Cooking with Carolina Live. And I am here, we're back inside this week. I'm here in my home kitchen and I'm really excited about tonight because we are going to be making some clam chowder. And I've never made clam chowder before, so it's very, very exciting for me. Here we are on Martha's Vineyard, and this is a quintessential dish, so it's something I should probably know how to do. So we're going to get down to it. And as always, this program is sponsored by the Library Friends of Oak Bluffs. You know I'm getting serious tonight because I'm putting on the apron, so it's going down for real. So let's get underway. You can see you can kind of see, I have all my ingredients out on the counter. And we're going to start by cooking the coal hogs. So coal hogs, I guess, they're like clams, but they're bigger. And we're going to get a big pot to cook them in. So I have this nice big honkin' pot. Give it a little rinse. And earlier today, I got 20 coal hogs from the net result. Here they are. So 20 coal hogs comes to about just over 6 pounds. So 6 pounds of coal hogs. Nice and fresh. These are local from the vineyard waters. And they are a little sandy. But that's okay. We can work with that. So now I'm going to just run these over to the sink and cover them with water. Maybe give them a quick rinse. From their condition, I think the net result literally ran out to the lagoon and dug them while I waited. They're fresh from the pond. So we're just going to cover them with about an inch, inch and a half of water and get them boiling. Okay, so that is on the stove now. We have it setting to boil. And all you'd have to do is kind of boil that and wait until it opens up so you can get the clams out of there. So we'll have that running and we'll prepare all the ingredients for the clam chowder. So I really like this dish. It's the perfect day to make it because today was pretty chilly outside. Definitely some cool air coming off the water. And a good day for chowder. Plus, I like it because there's a bunch of things in my fridge that I needed to use, like onion and the potatoes and the celery, and it's going to use all that. And that's great. It won't go to waste. You'd think I would cook enough to not have to worry about such things, but really I'm always battling food waste. Sadly, I must say. So, let's start with some onion. This has almost a cup of onion for this amount of coal hogs. And today I'm wearing my contacts, so I have my onion eyes on. When I wear my contacts, the onions don't make me cry. If I wear my glasses, it's all over. Somehow the contacts protect your tear ducts. Yet another amazing function. Science. So that little dance I did at the beginning, that was actually Dexter's dance. And they've been listening to that song. My two boy children have been listening to that song, and that's his little dance. So I did that little dance for him. So I think about a cup of onions will be probably 3 to 4 medium-sized onions. So I don't know if any of you have used this new Facebook Live with the knife, but I'm not a fan. I can't see anybody if they make comments. And it's not very intuitive. Ooh, I hear the clams like opening up and making funny noises. Actually just realized I don't think I've eaten clam chowder all summer. Another reason why this is so exciting. And I think we'll get one more onion in there. I'm going to use this big guy. Oh yes, it's definitely needed to be used. It's a little turn. looks about good. Plenty of onion, probably a little more than a cup of that big one. Okay, let's have a look and see what's going on with these clams. So they've sort of opened up, just starting to open up just a teeny bit. So not even close to there yet, but they are starting to open. The water isn't even boiling yet, it's just getting warm. Now we are going to add to this some celery that desperately needed to be used. I'm going to go rinse it. And this calls for 1 stalk of celery. I just have kind of the ends of a whole thing full that I'm going to use up because I like celery. And keep the greens in there too. Those add some nice flavor. And chop these to about the same size you would chop the onion. You might want to go a smidge smaller than the onion, just because celery doesn't break down quite as much as the onion does. You might not want a big piece of it. All right, so a fine chop, I would say. Then you can add that to the same bowl that you put your onions, your prepped onions in. Okay, now I'm actually going to go wild, and you don't have to do this, but I just happen to have an extra little shallot. I'm going to put it in. Fancy it up. Some classy clam chowder. Ooh, maybe that could be my own special recipe. Classy clam chowder. The skin does not agree with me. Right. As convenient as an onion where it just peels off in one piece. We'll just remove the whole outer layer. All right, there we go. A small piece of clay. Why that was there, never know. Clay is sort of like glitter when you have it in your house. It ends up everywhere. So I don't know if any of you are here that watched last week when I made the swordfish, but the swordfish was enormously popular with my children. Amazingly enough, they were crazy over it. In fact, they wanted me to make it again this week. So that recipe is definitely a winner. If you want it, you can always comment here or email me and I can send it to you. Okay, so there's my extra shallot I had. And now we will put in some garlic, 2 or 3 cloves. Probably do 3 just because these are a little small. And check on our steamers over here, our coal hogs. See, I kind of need an expert. I'm not sure how much they're supposed to open. I guess they're supposed to open quite a bit. As I mentioned earlier, this is my first clam chowder cooking experience. It's a big undertaking. But I felt up for the challenge. All right, we have our garlic. Cut off the little woody end. So today here on the vineyard, it was cool. Definitely felt like fall, in the low 60s, and a high surf, which is always kind of exciting to me. And there were a lot of kiteboarders out over along State Beach. which I love. There were probably like 6 or 7 out there all at once. It's a good day for it. Now we are going to add a tablespoon of fresh chopped dill. I'm going to rinse this just to be extra clean. See, now it's getting kind of frothy over the coal hogs. It's a little hard to see how open they are. I'll have to poke at them. Fresh dill smells so nice. Very fragrant. And you definitely want to mince this up. When you mince it, it really does bring down the quantity. I think I estimated pretty well for a tablespoon, but possibly even add a little more. Should I? Should I not? I don't know. Maybe. It smells so good. Okay, now I'm satisfied. Now to this we will add just a pinch of dried thyme. You can kind of smash that with your fingers while you put it in there, just to really bring out the flavor. And some black pepper. I feel like clam chowder often has a fairly robust amount of black pepper in it. So you can do that to taste, but I would go a little heavy. And of course, just a pinch of salt. Just a pinch though. And now here comes one of the secret ingredients, which is Chipotle Tabasco. So, tap on a dash of that. Other special ingredient, Worcestershire sauce, or as I like to call it, Worcestershire. Still can't pronounce Worcester. So a couple of swigs of that. And we will just put this to the side for now. That's all our mixture that will go in. Let's check on those coal hogs. And I'm grabbing a big slotted spoon here to lift one out and have a look. Oh yeah, that looks good. Oh yeah, some of them are opened up a lot. Oh, we're looking good here, we're looking good. And of course, if they don't open, those are just duds. and you don't want to pry them open. They either open, oh, see, here we have one that didn't open. There's always one in the bunch. Let's stick it back in there for now. But hopefully most of them have opened. And we are looking quite good here. Most are open really fully. Give you a little gander. So you can see here, get your angle, there we go. So you can see here how much it's actually open from being in the boiling water. So now with those, find yourself a big old bowl. And you do want to use a slotted spoon and take these out of the broth. This will help if there's any sand or residue that's in there. It helps to get that out. Rinse them off a little. Ooh, this is so exciting. I feel like a true vineyarder now. I mean, I was born here, but I never made whole hog chowder. Uh-oh, see, this one escaped. This is shell in there somewhere. Nope, there he is right there. No. And do try to drain them as you take them out of the boiling water as much as you can. They all want to come out at once. And of course I could turn this off. Now what would have been really cool is if I had gone out and done the clamming myself. I would like to do that someday. I don't currently have the permit. That could be a fun episode though. Fall off. See, that one has a bunch of sand in it. What is it all? And there's the one that didn't really open. Not really. We'll put that one. Oh, it did open. It opened fine. And then there are a few that came out of their shell that I'll just try to fish out. Okay, so now we actually are not going to dispose of this great pot liquor we have here from the clams. We're going to take that and use it in our recipe. So what I've done here is I have my pot and I'm going to put a cheesecloth over a strainer and pour the pot liquor over the cheesecloth to strain out any of that debris and pond yuck that's still in there, but retain the excellent flavors of the clamminess. And then you can definitely see down at the bottom of the pot that there was plenty of sand and muck. Thank you, Jack. So, now that we have that ready for us, I am going to get a nice big pot. Clams to the side. It's a vineyard house. Wipe any spiders out of your pot prior to cooking. Alright, there we go. Now, we'll put that to the side and we'll bring over our clams, our whole hogs. Have a little sip of water. It's hard work. And we're going to get out the food processor. You can chop them by hand, of course, if you would like to. But I'm going to use the food processor. Now first, we want to take these clams, get rid of all these shells. We need more counter space. Never enough. Use my beautiful green Moroccan plate. And so you can take the clams and put them on your cutting board. You do have to pre-process them just a little. Oh, that one's juicy. Sounds big. A whopper. I really wanted to put on a thick Boston accent for this whole show. I don't know if I could pull it off entirely, though. I do a New York accent much better. And a North Carolina accent. And a few others, but, you know. That's a whole other show. All right, so we had 100% success with our whole hogs and opening. So, move this. Have a better view. And now, from what I understand, this is the part where I'm a little unsure. If anybody's an expert here, they can comment. I believe we want to, well, I don't know if we really need to remove that. We're supposed to remove a tough muscle. Muscle, there's the muscle, maybe, but that doesn't seem that tough, especially if you chop it. Any ideas? Anybody? Anybody? Throw me a lifeline. Not chop well. We're all learning together here. Oh yeah, see, that is kind of tough. Okay, so I think you want to remove this little rubbery, muscly bit that attaches the clam to the shell. And it comes out really easily, actually. And you can put them straight into the food processor once you've done that. Or to the side if you're going to hand chop. 2. Oh, this one's really tough. 2, 2. Woo! It squirted at me. Okay, so we've removed those chewy, tough muscle bits, and I put them in the food processor. And let's give them a little chop. Now we're not going to chop them too finely, just, you know, a loose chop. Well, a pulse. Yes, definitely just do a pulse so you can kind of keep an eye on how chopped they're doing. Ooh, smells like the ocean. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I don't think I'll chop them further. Bring it over and I kind of like in a clam chowder when you get like a bigger piece of clammy goodness. So there you can see sort of the level of the chopping. Now, put this aside. And we're going to melt some butter in our pot now. And actually, I'm going to do a little switcheroo because this isn't the pot that I really wanted to use. So I'm going to take my pot liquor pot. And, ooh, it's still hot. Transfer all that broth to a different pot. That's kind of a good idea anyway. There's a little sediment still at the bottom. Even adding the cheese. Okay, so now the best thing to use for this is like a nice big Dutch oven, or I'm a big fan of this Majestic Ware pot that I have, so I'm going to use that. And now we are going to take a 1/4 pound of butter. That's when it gets really heavy and delicious. So, I don't know if anybody knows a Star Wars ray gun. 1/4 pound of butter. Quiz. Anybody? How much? 1 stick. So we'll heat that up here. Uh-oh, see, now I'm feeling the pressure. I have some professional chefs that are watching me on Instagram. They better not steal my recipes. So we'll heat this up over about medium. And put your whole stick of butter in. This is a long show today. You're in for the long haul. I'll try to keep you entertained. So we'll melt our butter. And while that butter's melting, we can do a little cleanup. These you can throw out in the yard, over the fence, if you don't have neighbors. in the garden. Compost them. Grind them up and put them in your driveway. I love a shell driveway. I really wish I had a shell driveway. It's very nice. Okay, so. Butter's melting quick. You have to do a little cleaning and get ready for round 2. Okay, we are ready. I hear that sizzle. Very good. Now we'll take our mixture of the onion and celery and shallot and garlic and all those other secret ingredients and put them on it. Saute. Make sure you put your hand on your hip to stir. It's like a counterbalance. Oh, this is so exciting. Smells so good. I'm loving this. All right, get that going there. A little more tidying. And we'll let this saute about 5 or 6 minutes. Doing an occasional stir. And while that's happening, let's dice some potatoes. Now, just like everything else where I was using up the things that were left in my kitchen and needed to be used, I have some random potatoes. So I have one baking potato, and then I have a bunch of these cute little creamer potatoes. Some baby yellow potatoes. So this big guy, I'm going to peel. I have a few different peelers, but I am rather particular about peelers, and I really prefer this style of peeler, which maybe they don't even make anymore. But luckily, I have some from days of yore. I don't really like the plastic ones. Very efficient. And we can reuse that same bowl that we had our kind of mirepoix mixture in. Give it a little stir. And dice these up. And again, here you can think about when you eat clam chowder, how big do you like your potatoes? Some people might like kind of a chunkier potato, some might like smaller bits. You could do little squares. I think I tend to like a little on the smaller side. So I'm going to continue chopping this. But you do want to get your pieces fairly even sized just so they cook evenly. So just kind of get in there and chop those pieces that are still big. Now, I would not recommend putting the potato into the food processor because that'll vaporize it too much. And you'll be left with pieces that are way too small. You want more of a dice than a chop. And now we'll take these little babies. And these I will not peel. I actually like the peel to stay on potatoes in many cases, and I definitely think with the little yellows you don't need to remove them. But you do want to chop them. And they're such a pretty color. I'm sure it's probably haram. You're not really allowed to use yellow potatoes, I think, in a true New England clam chowder because that ruins the whiteness of it. The whiteness of the color, that is, of the finished product. But I think it'll give it a nice flavor, so we're going to go for it. Why not? Give it a stir. Oh, yeah. Looking good there, looking good. And of course, try to chop these little yellows about the same size that you did the baking potato. Or of course, you can use all of the same type of potato. You don't have to use your kitchen sink potatoes like me. I'm all about the kitchen sink. Actually going to turn this down just a little. Keep it going on like a medium low, just so it doesn't brown too much while it's sauteing. And I'm chopping. Now at the library, Jonathan is our usual clam chowder master. And he makes it every year. And I always try to get him to do like a guest chef spot in the library. But nobody seems to want to do the guest chef virtual. Keep trying. So as you know, clam chowder, well, you may or may know, clam chowder has a lot of potatoes in it. Okay, so that's been sauteing for at least 5 or 6 minutes now. And at this point, you want to add about 3 tablespoons of flour. And this will help thicken the chowder later. So give it a little stir again. Turn it hot pan. Turn that down a little. Now, this I will measure. So we have 1. Let's sprinkle it on over that, stir it in a little. 2. And just sprinkling that one in, it just jumped on in itself. 3. And stir that up a little. Make sure you're not up too high. Turn it down. And you will continue sauteing this. It's starting to look like Thanksgiving stuffing. We'll saute this about 5 or 6 more minutes with that on there. And double time our potatoes here. Smaller knife. Oh yeah. I have the right tool for the job. Here's where you wish you could just throw them in the food processor. Laborious. Laborious. Almost done with our potatoes here. I'm going to pause, give this a stir. Once it has that flour on there, it does make it easier to stick to the bottom of the pan. I want to be on top, stirring it a little more regularly. It smells very good. Got a little onion caramelization going on. I just figured out what song it was that I was doing laborious to. stretchy. So many little potatoes. Stir pause. Alright, we're about there with that. Shut these papers. All right, potatoes are there. Now, another thing that we have here is not just our chopped cole hogs that we made. We also have some minced clams that I was able to get at the Net Result. So we want two pints of those. They're actually still a little frozen, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll put those on in. And then we can put in our chopped cole hogs. So the difference is the